I wish I was making this up. I wish I could sit here and tell you I misheard it, but nah, I heard every damn word. You want to know the worst part about being married to someone who slowly stops wanting you? It's not the silence. It's not the lack of sex dot. It's when you hear it confirmed out loud in a way that strips whatever dignity you are still holding on to. That moment hit me like a F asterisk asterisk ing truck. So let me rewind just a bit. My name's Zach Morris. I'm 33 years old, forklift, operator for a big warehouse in Omaha. It ain't glamorous, but it's honest work. Been doing it 8 years. I clock in early, clock out tired, and I come home every day to what used to be peace. I used to look forward to getting home, seeing Chloe, my wife. She's 31, works part-time as a dental assistant 3 days a week. She's got this kind of polished, pretty, you know what I mean? Nails always done, brows perfect, hair curled, even if we're just going to Walmart. When we first met, she was warm, funny. She liked that I was steady. She'd say, "I love that you're so grounded, not one of those fake guys chasing clout." We met through friends at a local bonfire, talked for hours about life, music, small town stuff. I didn't think a woman like her would give a guy like me a shot, but she did. We dated 2 years, then got married in 2020. Fast forward to now, it's 3.5 years in a marriage, and I've been feeling like a stranger in my own home. No more random hugs. No more flirty texts. Hell, no more sex unless it's my birthday, where she's had 2 glasses of wine and feels guilty. It started small. She got obsessed with TikTok therapy. All those videos where women say men are emotionally unavailable, and if he doesn't make 6 figures, drop him. I work 50+ hours a week. I cook when I can. I fix anything that breaks in the house, and I've never once yelled at her or made her feel unsafe. But suddenly, I wasn't enough. Not exciting. Not elevated. Just her emotionally soft husband who brings home groceries and asks how her day went. She started doing more girls' nights. At first, I was like, cool. Everyone needs their space. But then it was every week, Thursdays and Saturdays. Wine makeup, Instagram photos, and God knows what else. The house would be filled with her voice and laughter, but never with me included. I became a background character. One Thursday night, this is where it really happened. She invited 3 of her friends over. I recognized them. Her cousin Aubrey, who is in town for the summer, Madison, her loud, single friend, and Taylor, the judgmental one who's been divorced twice, but somehow thinks she's licensed to give relationship advice. I had just gotten home from work, my back hurt, my knees were sore, and all I wanted to do was heat up leftover mac and cheese and pass out watching old football replays. When I walked in, the girls were already 2 bottles deep in a cheap wine, giggling in the living room. Chloe waved at me like I was the neighbor, not her husband. "Hey babe," she said, "we're just having girl talk. You can chill in the bedroom. We won't be loud." That hit me a little weird, like I was some kid being told to go to his room while the adults have fun, but whatever. I nodded, kissed her on the cheek, and went to the bedroom. I had just sat down on the bed, about to turn on the fan, and maybe listened to a podcast when I heard something that made my blood run cold. Madison asked, loud as hell, "So Chloe, are you two still like doing it?" There was this pause. I swear my ears perked up like a dog's. And then Chloe laughed, not a little giggle, a real laugh. And she said, "Honestly, I don't even get horny from my husband anymore." I froze. She said it like she was ordering a coffee, like it was just a random fact. No hesitation, no shame, just out there. The room burst into laughter. Then she added, "He's sweet, but he's just, I don't know. Too soft sometimes, too quiet, like there's no edge." They laughed harder, and that right there, that broke something inside me. I didn't storm out. I didn't yell or throw things. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, my fists clenched. This was the woman I took care of. The woman I drove across town to get Middle for when she had cramps. The woman I defended when her own mom talked down to her. The woman I held through panic attacks. And now, in front of her friends and my own, F asterisk 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 G house. As a punchline, I heard her cousin Aubrey say, softly, "You sure you want to say that? He's right there." And Chloe snapped back, "He's probably asleep already. He doesn't care." I cared more than she could have imagined. I didn't sleep that night. I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, while they kept drinking and laughing in the next room. Eventually, they all passed out in the living room, wine glasses half full, and lipstick-stained out. The next morning, I made coffee. Sat at the kitchen counter while Chloe walked in, wearing one of my old hoodies like nothing happened. She said, "Morning, babe," kissed me on the forehead, and asked if I wanted pancakes. I looked at her and said, "You're not even hungry for me. Why bother feeding me?" Her face went pale for a second, then she smiled awkwardly and asked what I meant. I didn't answer, just sipped my coffee and stared at the window. I wanted her to feel it, the silence, the weight of her words. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to argue. I was just done pretending everything was fine. And you know what's crazy? Later that day, I got a message on Instagram from Aubrey, the cousin, but I'll get to that next. You ever get a message that hits you straight in the gut? Not because it hurts, but because it feels like someone actually saw you and nobody else did. That's what happened with Aubrey. I didn't expect anything from her. Honestly, I barely even remembered she was in town until that wine night happened. Chloe said she was visiting from Austin for a while, crashing with her aunt down the street. I met her a couple times before at cookouts, but never talked much. She always gave off that fiery, no filter, say dash whatever dash is dash on dash her mind type of vibe. But that night, when Chloe and her friends were tearing me apart in the living room, laughing about how she doesn't get horny for her husband anymore, Aubrey was the only one who didn't laugh. I heard her voice, low, hesitant. "You sure you want to say that?" "He's right there." That line stuck with me. After everything got quiet, maybe around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Instagram DM dot from Aubrey. All it said was, "Hey, I'm sorry. What Chloe said tonight wasn't right. I hope you're okay." I just stared at the screen for a solid minute. It's wild how even a simple message can feel like a lifeline when you're drowning. I replied, "Yeah, I heard it. Every word." She replied fast. "Figured. I saw your face earlier. You didn't deserve that. I didn't know how to respond." I just said, "Thanks for saying that." Then she hit me with a message that stopped me cold. "For what it's worth, I think you're the kind of man most women would kill for. She doesn't know what she's got." Now let me pause right here. I wasn't looking to cheat. I wasn't trying to flirt. I was married, still wearing a ring, still holding out hope that maybe Chloe and I could talk, fix things, get back to who we were. But those words, they hit different because I hadn't heard anything like that in months, maybe years. My own wife hadn't complimented me in forever. Everything I did was either expected or not enough. If I brought her flowers, she'd say, "What's the occasion?" If I worked overtime, she'd say, "Are you ever home?" I couldn't win. But now, here was her cousin, sending me messages like, "You're real. I can tell. That kind of man is rare now." And yeah, something inside me cracked out. We talked for over an hour that night. Just messages. Nothing dirty, nothing suggestive, but the vibe was different. She asked about work, told me about her job bartending in Austin, how she's been trying to figure her life out. She was sharp, funny, honest. At the end of the combo, she said, "Get some sleep, Zach, and don't let anyone make you feel like less of a man." especially not someone who stops seeing you clearly. I didn't sleep much, but that line, that sat in my chest the whole night. The next few days were weird. Chloe went back to being her usual self. Polite, detached, scrolling TikTok on the couch, sipping iced coffee like nothing happened. I didn't bring up what I heard. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of knowing how deep it cut. I kept things civil, quiet, mechanical. Aubrey didn't message again, not for a few days, but when she did, it wasn't through Instagram. It was a text. I had no idea how she got my number, but her message said, "Hey, it's Aubrey. Hope that's okay. Just wanted to check on you." I didn't mind. We texted back and forth that night again. Still nothing shady. But now there was a tension. That kind of slow-burning energy where you're not crossing a line, but you're definitely standing right on top of it. One night, Chloe left for another girls' weekend, this time in Kansas City. She packed her overnight bag, kissed me on the cheek like a neighbor, and said, "Don't wait up." I nodded, went back to mowing the lawn. That night, Aubrey texted me. "She's gone for the weekend, right?" "Yeah. You busy tonight?" I hesitated. My stomach dropped. I knew it was coming, not in a dirty way, but in that this is a moment you can't undo kind of way. "Not really, just hanging out." Then she said it. "Can I come by?" I stared at that text for a good 5 minutes. My heart was racing. My pride was screaming yes. My conscience was somewhere in the background, waving a red flag. But I was tired of being ignored. Tired of feeling like a ghost in my own damn home. I texted, "Sure, you can come over." She showed up in a hoodie, ripped jeans, and Air Force Ones. No makeup, hair up. She looked casual, but still, there was something confident about her energy. Like she knew the fire she was playing with. We sat on the back porch, drinking Shiner Bock and talking. Just talking. Music low, porch light buzzing, the whole backyard quiet. And then she leaned forward and said, "You know, I don't get why she treats you like you're invisible. If you were mine." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. She kissed me, slow, intentional, like she'd been thinking about it for a while. I didn't stop her. I didn't pull away. I let it happen, because for the first time in a long time, I felt seen. And yeah, I know it was messy. I know the situation was twisted, but at that point, I didn't care. Chloe had already stepped out emotionally. She gave up on us. All I did was let someone else step in where she walked away. That night didn't feel like revenge. It felt like clarity. And as wild as it sounds, Aubrey didn't just want me. She respected me. She talked to me like I mattered. She wasn't trying to fix me or compare me to TikTok therapy brothers. She just showed up. And that was all I needed to realize. I had been starving for something way deeper than sex. I needed connection, respect, hell, basic appreciation, and Aubrey, she brought all of that in one night. But trust me, the real shocker wasn't what we did that night. It was what she did the next day. And that changed everything. I didn't plan for it to go down the way it did. I didn't have some scheme in the back of my mind, some master revenge plot like people think. I didn't even want to hurt Chloe at first. I just wanted space. I wanted to breathe again, to feel like I mattered somewhere. But Aubrey, she saw what was really going on and she lit the whole damn match herself. So after that night, the night Aubrey kissed me, the night I let go of all that loyalty and guilt, I'd been dragging around. Everything changed. Not in some dramatic movie-style way, more like this quiet shift inside me. Like I woke up. The next morning, I made breakfast. Bacon, eggs, black coffee, the way I always do. Aubrey sat at the counter. In my hoodie, barefoot, hair still messy, like she lived there. It didn't feel wrong. It didn't feel dirty. It just felt peaceful. She looked at me halfway through a bite of toast and said, "You know I'm gonna tell her, right?" I raised an eyebrow. You're serious? She nodded. She needs to know what she gave up. She needs to understand what it feels like to be second. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I just looked at her and said, if you're gonna do it your way. That was it. Later that day, Chloe came home from a girls' trip. She walked through the door, all smiles and Target bags. Sunglasses still on like she was some influencer in LA. Hey, babe. She said, barely looking at me. I got you some new socks. They had a deal. You're always losing yours. I stared at her for a second and just said, cool, thanks. She went into the kitchen like nothing happened. Popped open a LaCroix, started talking about how her friend Taylor hooked up with some DJ at the bar they went to. It was like she lived in a whole different reality, one where our marriage hadn't completely fallen apart and she hadn't humiliated me in front of half our living room. I didn't engage. I didn't argue. I didn't even bring up the message I got from Aubrey while Chloe was still unpacking. It said, I just texted her. She's about to lose her mind. I sat down on the couch and waited. 5 minutes later, I heard Chloe's phone buzz. Then again. At first, she was just scrolling. I could see her standing in the kitchen, casually reading, sipping her drink. Then her whole posture changed like someone knocked the wind out of her. She froze. Her hand dropped to her side. Her jaw clenched, then she looked up at me, eyes wide. Mouth open. What the F asterisk is this? I didn't move. She stormed into the living room, phone in hand, shaking it like it was a weapon. Tell me this isn't real. Tell me you didn't sleep with my cousin. Tell me she's lying. Looked her right in the eyes and said, she's not lying. That's all I said. Just like that. She stood there, speechless, like she couldn't believe I was staying so calm. Like she expected me to grovel, deny it, explain myself. But I wasn't playing that game anymore. She started pacing, grabbing her hair, full-on meltdown. Mode, are you kidding me? You're disgusting. You're sick. You cheated on me with my own family. I didn't flinch. I just stood up, walked to the bedroom, and started packing a bag. Not a suitcase. Just my duffel, some clothes, my phone charger, my wallet, and my watch. She followed me in, still yelling, her voice cracking now. You're throwing everything away. One little mistake I made at a stupid wine night. I stopped, turned to her and said, it wasn't one night. Chloe, it's been a year of you shutting me out, ignoring me, talking down to me, making me feel like I was less than a man. You didn't even deny what you said to your friends. You just assumed I was asleep. She tried to cut me off. I held up my hand. Don't. You said you don't get horny for your husband. Fine. That husband's gone. I zipped the bag, walked past her, and left the house. Didn't slam the door. Didn't look back. I went to stay with my buddy, Mike, for a few days. He's got a place out in Bellevue, a small place with a pull-out couch. When I told him what happened, he just shook his head and said, damn, bro. And I thought my ex was bad. Aubrey didn't message me again for a bit. She knew I needed space, but she'd check in, just short texts. You good? Need anything? She's been calling me nonstop. I didn't answer for a few days. Then one night I called her. She picked up on the first ring. I just said, thanks for seeing me, for saying something when nobody else would. She didn't say much, just a minute. We didn't rush into anything after that. No relationship status updates. No Instagram posts. Just a quiet understanding between two people who had been disrespected, used, and underestimated. Meanwhile, Chloe, she lost it. She called me at least a dozen times over the next 2 weeks. Left voicemails crying, yelling, begging, swearing, then apologizing. One message stood out. You made your point. I get it. But don't you think I deserve another chance? No, you don't get to decide when you respect someone. You don't get to humiliate your husband and then panic when someone else treats him like a human being. You don't get to call it a stupid mistake when you publicly shame the man who loved you through everything. So I didn't answer. And I never will. Now, I got my own apartment, my own life, my peace back. Business is steady, my truck's running strong, and I've started smiling again. Not because I got revenge, not because I slept with her cousin, but because I remembered what it feels like to be enough for myself. And that's a feeling no one can take from me, dog, not even her. Final closing hug for your video narration. She said, I don't get horny for my husband. Her cousin said, I do. Let me prove it. 1 minute as a joked out the other minute with her whole chest. And me, I just quietly walked away and never looked back.